Hey, welcome to the Mortgage Minute. It's been a very interesting month here around the month of May, waiting for summer to start in Vancouver. Everything started out with Ontario. The Ontario government decided to tackle the perceived housing crisis. We keep hearing about this housing crisis in Vancouver and Toronto. Well, Ontario came out with not just 1, 2, or 3, but 5 new implementations that are going to be designed to control housing market. Be careful what you ask for, people, because again, they're going to do things like rent controls. Rent controls are designed to try to control the escalating cost of renting, but it'll actually inadvertently, potentially, have the opposite impact as developers decide to slow down creating purpose-built housing for rentals. So watch that carefully over the upcoming months. The other big news was Home Capital. A lot of conversation around this talks about Home Capital shares are plunging. They just sold off $1.5 billion worth of mortgages, and that helped some of their share price come back. And a lot of this, I get the questions being a mortgage broker. Everybody's saying, "Well, Pete, what does this mean to the Canadian mortgage market? Is my mortgage in trouble?" The answer is no. I'd say, first of all, relax. There's a lot more. A lot more to this. Is more complicated than I can get into right now. But the bottom line is this: there will be a little disturbance in the Canadian subprime mortgage market, but this is not to be confused with anything remotely close to what the Americans went through in 2008. So if you start hearing people say, "Well, yeah, see, we're going down the same path as the Americans," that's overrated, over-exaggerated, and not accurate. Having said that, watch for one of the big changes, especially for those of you in Ontario. If you are invested into a syndicated mortgage, the Securities Commission is going to want to see those investments treated more like securities. So there are probably going to be a lot more syndicated mortgage companies moving in and forming mortgage investment corporations mixed so that they can be securitized and governed in a more governable fashion. That there will be some interesting opportunities there, both from an investment side and from a mortgage lending side. Lastly, back home here in British Columbia, the tight race. We have a historical provincial election. The provincial election, tight race, and the Green Party, of all parties, the Green Party holds the balance of power as of today. I fully expect that we'll see one of those seats turn back to Liberals that have a majority. And what does this mean to you? It means for Vancouver and British Columbia, specifically for Vancouver real estate prices, I'm expecting a stabilization factor. Again, everybody's been waiting to see what the results of this election would be, whether they would continue to have an infusion of capital into the market or an exodus. And I think with the Liberal government being voted in, we're going to see stabilization in the marketplace and yet a further increase in pricing. So lots of interesting stuff. And last but not least, our webinar series. We had part 11 of the webinar series with Sussex a few weeks ago. And for those of you who did not get a chance to see that, or if you didn't get a copy of that, let me know. We can send you, and we'll actually attach a link to this to our newsletter. And the next webinar series is coming up on Wednesday, May 17th. We're going to be interviewing Equicapita. Sorry. Equicapita is a company that goes about, you've heard of companies who look for undervalued real estate opportunities, and they buy a real estate property undervalued, increase the management or increase the rental income, and then the valuation goes up and then they sell it. Well, Equicapita does the exact same thing, but with businesses. Small, medium enterprise businesses. Absolutely phenomenal, very interesting business model, fantastic track record. I really like what these guys do, and I think you're going to find it very interesting. So that is Wednesday, May 17th is our next webinar series. We'll send you the information on that as well. Thanks, and have a great week.